What's good, YouTube? About to show you how to play the Shaman King trading card game. It's a dead game and it only had one pack. And I don't know, it's like I like to play dead games because, I don't know, kind of hipstery feel to it. I also am doing this video just to show you how to play the game. On this side we have a Ren or a Len deck, you know, Tao Len, and his attributes are he's Yo's friend, he is like intellectual, I think that's what that means, and that he uses weapons like swords and stuff. And then there's certain cards in the game where you have to have a character that does this, and then if you tap all the things correctly you get to use their special moves, which that's pretty cool. It's like coming right out of the thing. And after you use this one you flip the card over and use this side, and then if you get it again you can use this side. And on this side have her sister June, Tao, and her attributes are she's Yo's friend, her spirit's like a brawler, and that she uses like a spirit that doesn't possess her, just like Faust. Yeah, and then she has pretty good attacks. The June deck's my favorite deck, but then it always gets beat by the Len deck, which is funny. Both sides have this card. It's an opening attack. You roll a dice and you decide who goes first, and then whoever goes first gets to decide who opens the attack. And this wording doesn't mean anything really. This just is a marker that says when you start the attack you have 4 attack. And on most cards there's a 4, there's a number that shows what the attack is. Let me just pull one out real quick. And then there's a number that is intercept, and that's like the defense. And this is called force, which is attack. These are costs. You have green furiyoku, yellow furiyoku, and red furiyoku, and these are like your energy to use cards. If you don't have the furiyoku to use a card, then you can't play that card, and you have to either focus it or pitch it, which focusing it is wherever you're adding this to whichever zone, red, yellow, or green, you add this to the furiyoku of that zone, and then you move to the next one. If you can't play a card in the red zone and you can't defend yourself, you lose that round and the opponent gets a point. First player to get 3 points wins. I did not get my dice, so I'm gonna just run real quick and get some. Alright. Dice. So I'm just gonna set these down and wait until somebody makes a point. This zone where the character is green, this is yellow, and then there's gonna be a third one, and that's gonna be the red. And what you do to start a game is you shuffle the decks. I'll just, shuffle them all crappy and stuff. Kakashi sleeve swag. Anyway, shuffle both sides, and then add 2 furiyoku to each zone. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you mill 4 cards into the discard pile, because every time you add furiyoku and the turn start, you have to use the discarded ones. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in this game, to decide who goes first, you look at your discard pile and you add up all the force right here. Now this has 6, 1, so 7, and then 11, and then 15. So 15 added. And then this side has 15. So, I've never had this happen before. I'm just going to roll a dice. June for 2, and Len got 1. So June will go first, and June will decide. June will open the attack. So since it's in the green zone and it's defending now, which they put it to the side in the rulebook, you don't really have to, I guess. You add 1 from your discard pile to the green zone because he attacked from the green zone, and now you will draw to defend. And when you're drawing to defend yourself, you have to get an intercept that will block it. So he draws this card, and its cost is 1 green and 1 red. And I don't know if I would do that personally, but let's just say yes. So I take 1 from the green and 1 from the red, and I add it to the discard pile, and then I turn it to the side to say that I'm done. So I'm just going to scoot this back under just to get out of the way. And then since he only had to go to the green zone, I get 1 from the discard pile and I add it to the green zone. Alright, now I'll draw for June. Alright, now see, this card has an attack of 5, and since I'm defending, I have to have a defense of 5 or equal, or 5 or more, I mean. And this card only has 4, so I cannot attack, or I can't defend with it. So what I'll do is I can either focus it, which I add it to this zone here, or I can just send it to the graveyard, the discard pile. But the thing is, that'd be kind of dumb, and you really only want to do that for certain effects that card has. This card has no effect. It's just like a pretty good card to have at the beginning, but now it's not really good. It's kind of like a chance-taking card. So I'm going to focus it to the Furiyoku. And now, since I did not do it in the green zone, I have to move to this zone, the yellow zone. Now I drew Necroawakening. Its effect is, if you counterattack with Necroawakening, charge the zone that it's in. Now charging a zone, you can do it with a advantage card, or you can do it with an effect of a strike like this. So it has a green and a red cost, so I will send a red and a green to the grave. I will defend since it has 5, and they attack, I need to defend against this 5. And then since it charges this zone, you turn whatever card that's in the zone to, I don't know, I want to say vertical or horizontal or whatever, but yeah, you just turn it, for lack of a better term. And then when all of the zones are charged, which means that if all of them turn this way, you get to use that effect that's inside these. And then you pay the cost of this, and then I'll get to that later if it happens. This game goes on for a really long time, so now I'm just going to kind of go through it, and then when I run into something new, I'll tell you about it. So he goes to the yellow zone, so since he went to the yellow, like before when you attack with green, they add a green Furiyoku to the other side. Since he went to the yellow, or she went to the yellow, this will go to the graveyard, or the discard pile or whatever, and then you'll go 1, and then you'll do that. And then also that means that if it goes to the red, you add 1 to the red, 1 to the yellow, and 1 to the green. So you don't want to let your opponent, you don't want to keep going farther and farther down, because it gives your opponent more Furiyoku. The less Furiyoku your opponent has, the better, And yeah, so I went to the yellow, charged those zones, so now I can, I did whatever. This card has 6 defense, so it costs 2 green, and oops, 1 red. And 1 red, so this will go, and then I'll defend, but it has a 4 attack, so that's kind of a bad card. And since he stopped in the green, I add 1 from the discard pile to the green, and then I start drawing. Totem Blast has 6 attack and 6 defense, or 6 force and 6 intercept. Costs 1 of each color, so I'll send those, and then I'll defend with this, and that's a really good card. I'm lucky to have drawn that. So add 1 to green, and then go. Now this is an advantage. Advantages are kind of like just continuous effects that go on for the turn, and like this one says your strikes have +1 intercept, but in your opponent's red zone your strikes have -3 force. So if the opponent says, oh well, I don't have enough attack to get over the defense or whatever, they'll go farther and farther down or something like that, you know, just a strategy. So I'll use this, and when you use an advantage, you know, you pay the cost, and then I'll just put it on top of the guy, but then it also charges the zone that it's in, so I'm going to charge it. And then when you use an advantage, you don't go to the next one, you stay on that one. So I draw this. It needs 2 green and 1 yellow, and as you can see, he only has 1 green and he has 3 yellows. But the thing in this game is, if you need to pay a green cost, you can pay it with yellow and red furiyokus also, and if you have a yellow cost that you can't pay but you have reds, you can pay in reds. And if you just have just a bunch of reds, you can just pay anything with reds. And so like, it might not be a smart move to do that right now, but I'm just going to do that. So it needs 2 green and 1 yellow, and since I only have this, I'm going to do 1 green and 2 yellow just to pay all those costs off. And then since that's enough, with this card adding the intercept, because this has 5, this will add 1, so it'll be 6. So it's enough to stop this. And he stopped in the green zone, so I can't get a lot of furiyokus. So this will go to the discard pile, and then I'll add 1 to the green since he stopped in green, and then I'll draw. I drew an advantage also, and this one adds 1 force and 1 intercept. And also the thing, like, you see this symbol, that means that you can only use this card in a deck that has that symbol. So, you know, like, that's just how you have to like deck build your deck, you know. So the same thing goes with this. I'll pay the 2, and then it charges this zone, and then I'll draw in the same zone. That's a pretty good card, but it needs 2 yellows, and I don't have any reds, and I don't have enough yellows, so I can't pay any other furiyokus, so I have to charge this, or focus it, I mean. I always get charged wrong. Haha. Okay, so my camera just fell off my little Jimmy thing. It was just taped to this. Cause I'm ghetto like that, son. That's what's up. And I don't know if like y'all would really want me to keep on recording like this, but I'll just do this and see what happens. I'll just be a gangster. Alright, so I just did the Dragon Aura for June, and since I did that, I draw in the same area. It's another advantage, but this one, I don't think I'll really need it, so I'll just focus it, and then I'll draw for the yellow zone. This one only has 4 defense, so I can't really play that against his 5 attack, so I gotta charge that. So now I'm in the red zone. Draw, Alright, 5 and 5, that'll work. Or no, wait. Ugh, ugh. Oh, I can't even play this card anyway, whatever. And I can't play this card either because it's red, so I'm gonna focus it. And now he just got 1 point. And then what happens when somebody makes a point is you put all the advantages that were used that turn in the discard pile, all the attacks into the discard pile. And what happens when you make a point is also when you have a teamwork card, which is one of these. And what happens when you draw a teamwork is you'll draw it into whatever zone you're in, and then you pay the cost on the card, and then it's a continuous card that goes off to the side like this, and then you draw, like you keep drawing into it, and see like maybe I don't want to use this card, or it's not strong enough, or I don't have enough crap for it, and like let me just set up an example. Boom, boom. Let's put like a whole bunch of like green furiyokus, because this is in the green zone, and this effect is your strikes in Mikihisa, because this one's called Mikihisa. Your strikes in Mikihisa's zone has tactical green, and that means that if you draw a card that you don't want, instead of focusing it or pitching it to like go to the next one, you can pay a green furyoku, discard, and then discard this, and then you can draw into the same zone without like going to the next one, So yeah. And also there's other cards that have certain effects that you might want to talk about, like this card. There's an effect in the game and it's called pitch, and then it has an arrow, and that means that when you pitch, you pay this cost or whatever, the arrow points to like what the effect is. And this card says pitch, move a teamwork you control to one of your empty zones. So it's like if you draw this and you don't want to defend with it, what you have to do to pitch is you have to send it to the grave, and then since it says you get the one of these to switch, like say like, oh well, I think I'll need, like let's say that this is in the red zone, because that's like a bad place to, well I don't know, it doesn't really matter where Mikihisa is pretty much, but like let's say you want them in the yellow zone and it's in the green, so you pitch it and then you move it to the green, the yellow, and then you have to draw to the next one, because it's kind of like, oh, you're going to use that really good effect, okay, well you can't use this zone now that you just did that, so you're going to pitch and then you're going to go to the next one. So like that's a pretty good thing, effect type thing. Well yeah, I would finish this video up if the freaking camera stayed up well, but it did not. I didn't think it would. But yeah, if you have any Shaman King cards and you were wondering how to play this game, that's how you play it. It's a really fun game. It's kind of like War, but with like a really cool anime going on. You're supposed to have 60 cards in your deck, but since like I just really didn't have enough cards to make 2 decks, I just made them 40. And if you deck out, which you will deck out, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to count how many furyokus you have. So I have 1 red, 2 yellow, and then 4 green right here. So I have to remember that. 4, 2, 1. Add it to the discard pile. Put your deck on it. Shuffle. I'm too bored to. I'm using one hand to hold this camera. So I'm just gonna do that, and then it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and then 1. And then you mill out 4 to the discard pile again. And then, yeah, you just keep playing like wherever zone you're in. Always remember that. And when you do that, remember if your deck is charged or discard pile's charged, because I always forget. But yeah, that's my video on how to play this game. I really wish this video was better, but